So the other part of something I wasn't used to leaving a clinical setting and working remote, in addition to the emailing, was how you communicate with people via email. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to record on my camera today, but realized that I brought my camera with me on a walk and didn't bring the SD card, so we're just going to do it on the phone. For those of you who maybe this is the first episode you're watching, my name is Brianna. I'm a registered nurse doing my thing away from the bedside, pursuing the field of healthcare informatics. And today I wanted to talk about remote working and why it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Of course, it has its major benefits, so some might still choose to do remote working regardless of the negative aspects. The drawbacks that I wanted to bring up were just a few. The first one being that there is so much reading that you have to do when you are working remotely, at least within the two-ish positions I've had so far. There is a lot of reading, and it's more so like not just reading emails, right? So if you're doing a job where you're not really taking a lot of calls, but you're taking a lot of emails from team members or directly from patients, then you're doing a lot of reading. It's not as quick as conversation. In addition to reading what's coming in, then you got to read maybe the policy or the protocol that helps you answer those questions. For example, during COVID, part of the remote job that I worked required us to do a risk assessment for people who tested positive within a work setting. And if there was something that was an outlier, like maybe there was a patient chart where they had information that just didn't line up with what you were usually seeing, right? There was something that fell outside of what you're used to doing. You'd have to go back and refer to the protocol. If what you needed to find wasn't in the protocol, then maybe there was like some additional off documents that your team had put together. So you got to go searching through PDFs. Maybe it's not in the PDFs. So there's like this chart resource that you have to find. If it's not on the chart resource, then maybe you have to go on an online site to find it. And then after you go on the online site, you might have to ask your team member for input. You can call up your team member on Microsoft Teams or whatever software you're using to communicate, or you can email your person, or you can message them. So you're reading messages, you're reading emails, you're reading protocols, you're reading the chart itself, you're reading people's questions. It's just like, okay, so you have to really pay attention and do whatever you need to do to not be distracted while you're trying to read all these words and comprehend and digest to make an educated guess or an educated answer to the issue. So the other part of something I wasn't used to leaving a clinical setting and working remote, in addition to the emailing, was how you communicate with people via email. So like, for example, if a patient situation had to be escalated to a different department, well, then I'd have to go look at the directory list to figure out who is the head of this, or who's the manager of this, or who's the team lead of this. And you just have to take like a wild guess and forward it to whomever you think it should be answered by. Well, then maybe that person is not the right person, but they can clearly direct you to who is. So then they'd then forward that and add an additional person who'd then maybe answer part of the question and then forward it to somebody else who could answer the other half of the question. So when I first had to do that, I was like, what is happening? I don't know why it confused me. It just confused me because we were just like adding on all these people. I had no idea who they were. I didn't know what they looked like. I've never talked to them on the phone. So just like a lot of adding across departments and strings of emails. So then figuring out how to organize my inbox so that all these incoming pings and dings could make sense to me. So if I need to go back and refer to something, then I could. So learning how to be organized, not like in my physical workspace, but also learning how to be organized on my desktop workspace with emails and other correspondences. My dogs are happy. They have just been really moody today, fighting each other. I don't know what it is. It's probably the weather. My mood is directly affected by the weather too, so I guess they're just a little bit pissy. Anyway, yeah, so that's 2 things I listed. And then obviously the biggest factor is you're working remote. So you're not amongst your coworkers, you're not amongst your people. It's probably good when you have like a combo job where you can work remote, but then you also see people. So like a hybrid style of working, which is a good balance. Especially if you get to control that, you get to control when you see people, what days you work, what day you go into the office, or what you do wherever you go. Depending on the type of person you are, maybe you are more efficient working in an office setting and amongst people. It's better to hear the subjects of work, hear people talk about it around you. Maybe you'll learn quicker that way. Maybe working remote is like slower to learn, harder to concentrate because you're at home in your own space. But I like being able to come and go as I please. So if I wanted to work remote in the library one day, or work remote at a friend's house, or work remote at family's house, or work remote in another state or whatever, then I could, depending on how that job is set up. I can go to the bathroom, my own bathroom, or a bathroom that is not a work stall that somebody didn't clean. What else can I do? I mean, there's a lot of things I can do. I can choose to take lunch when I feel like taking lunch. I can go on walks during lunch, before work, after work. Right? I don't have to get in my car and drive from work on lunch break to a location. If I wanted to take a walk, I don't really have to fight traffic. I mean, there are so many benefits. So I won't really go into the benefits because I think they're quite obvious, but those were just a few drawbacks for me if you were considering working remote as a nurse. The reading part, the teaching yourself part, the quiet part, and being organized. If any of you have had similar struggles, maybe some completely different from mine, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And that's all I got for you today, guys. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.